here today to talk about a subject that is really close to my heart, and it's health and trauma, health and mental health, and how those two things hang together. It's something that people don't always think about, but it's something that is really close to me, as I also worked in a psychiatric hospital when I was very young. And I've always been really interested in psychology, particularly around personal growth, personal healing. And so, yeah, really excited about this morning. I wanted to introduce you to Bianca Broberg, who I'm very, very, very happy can join us here. She is a therapist and concentrates and focuses on trauma and energy work. Hi,
Mm.
Bianca, how are you?
I'm fine. Hi, Britt. Thank you for having me.
Bianca, I wondered if you would you explain a little bit about your background, which is, I know, really quite personal and special. I would be very honored if you would
Mm.
share that with us.
Yeah, thank you. Today I'm sitting here, almost 47 years old, but I feel sometimes I have lived like three lives or something. Because when I came to this life as a child, it was a really rough time for me. It was like was born into a very dysfunctional family with a lot of alcohol. There is molesting and abuse and violence, and it was really pretty hard for me to grow up. But but when you grow up in that, what's it called, in that energy, it's like you don't know there is something else before you get older, right? So it was like um talking about the traumas I get from my childhood was really like sitting in my nervous system from, I think, almost from being in my mom's womb,
Mm.
because she had a rough time too, right? So growing up, and it was like yeah, it was a more tough conditioning around me. I fit school a little bit, but did not, and start, smoking and smoking weed, doing drugs, and had tough boyfriends. And the story is like a classic, right? And
Yeah.
then when I was 19 years old, I got my child, and that's how everything changes for me.
Oh, so you became a mother as
I became a
19.
mother, yeah. But
Yeah.
it was like the life before that was with a lot of problems, a lot of drama, a lot of it was just the way I grew up. I actually didn't know anything else, because my whole environment was like, my friends was criminal, I was criminal, my mom was drinking. It was normality for me to live like that. But I always had a little bit of another energy in me also. It's like, when I look back, I can see I have some stuff, like we're talking about energy, right? It's like I really loved the color blue, and I wanted to have everything in blue. And now today, when I work with the chakras and with healing, blue is the healing color.
Right. Yeah.
So that's yeah, quite interesting. And then the big breakthrough for me was when I had my daughter. I was 19, and when before I had her, when I was pregnant, I always called myself, before my new life, it was like I had I was a soldier. I was not like a feminine woman. I was a soldier. I was fighting my way through life, you know, with money, with men, with the family, with everything. I was a really, a lady soldier.
Yeah.
Everything was like a fight for me, right?
Yeah.
I didn't feel so much because I didn't allow myself to feel. Because if I felt, I think maybe at that time I have falling apart.
Mm.
So
I
when
think I'm sure that a lot of people will recognize
of course, yeah.
those feelings. And I mean, we all go through certain stresses
Mm.
throughout our lives at certain points, but obviously some people are particularly subjected to
Mm.
stress and to challenges.
Yeah.
So yeah, please continue. I think it's really interesting.
And it's a funny thing because also it's like you get addicted to the drama, to the stress hormones. It's when I see now as a grown-up lady, it's like I seeked the drama, the stress thing because I didn't know anything else. I didn't know how to be calm. I didn't know how to be relaxed. And it's really interesting when I look back to see all the difference. And
Yeah, I suppose what you can say, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you're right, we develop our own patterns, our own habits,
mm,
and really hard to step out of those and see yourself from a distance and realize the patterns that we've created, which we all create in some ways, and sometimes patterns can be negative or even hurtful to
mm,
ourselves or to others, but to actually recognize them as a pattern, as a habit that we can break
mm,
is is really challenging.
yeah,
First, to recognize it's possible, and
yeah,
then secondly, to actually start doing it. How
yeah.
did you start doing that? How did you actually start breaking
But
out of those patterns of seeking, challenges, seeking
that
disharmony?
Yeah, sorry. That's the three lives. I had the first life when I had my daughter, the second life started. And that's where I started to actually get anxiety, really bad anxiety. It's really. And at that time, it's almost 20 years ago, and we didn't speak about anxiety at that point. It was not up in the world. So nobody could tell me what it is. And I don't think I even speak with nobody about it. It was like I was a little bit embarrassed over it. So, but I started to recognize that something was wrong. Something is off. I couldn't sleep. Actually, I did not have a normal sleep for almost 10 years. So I was almost awoke every night, having these anxieties
Mm.
and a lot of I don't know what's it called, like a lot of thoughts. It's like
Yeah.
really stressing my body, right? What
And
what?
so it's interesting to hear that and really appreciate you sharing so openly to understand that actually when you moved into the period of having anxiety and feeling nervous and was actually in a sense part of the healing, the very beginning of a healing process.
It is. And actually, because when I was pregnant with my daughter, I did not do so much good nutrition because I didn't have an apartment. I was sleeping on couches with big belly and a small baby. And so when I you know, got my apartment. She was 6 months and everything started to heal, like you said. So the anxiety, the thoughts, it was like disaster thoughts, actually.
Yeah,
And
so sorry, Bianca. So I just want to hear a little bit more about, so when you're saying you didn't take too much care of your physical health with nutrition, so what
mm,
were you sort of typically eating at that time?
at that time, as I remember it, I have always been like a little bit healthy, eating vegetables from home too, and fruits and stuff like that. But it was in that period of time, I remember it was maybe pizzas. It was like a lot of bread and it was like I think I drank soda. I smoked cigarettes too under my pregnancy, and it was like I was just trying to survive. I remember I also eat like a tart
Mm,
and cakes and stuff, like it was like easy food in a way.
yeah, understand.
Uh, so when I got my apartment and I had her and all the things started, it was like I, of course, become much healthier. And the more she was growing. I thought about her having healthy food and vitamins, and then I started myself actually buying vitamins. I remember multivitamins, D vitamins, and all the stuff. But I still had this anxiety, and I have depression and thoughts that was really devastated to me. So I was a little bit healthier,
Yeah.
starting to think about more stuff.
Mhm.
And then when I was 27, that's my new life started. And that's when I started to really go into the nutritions, thinking about, because I still had the anxiety. And I started to do a lot of vitamins. I got this interesting for cooking, cooking a lot of fruits. I had a really bad skin too. I had completely acne from 12 years old. So, normally when you're a young person, you really always want to look good. It's actually more important for people to look good than to have a mental good health. So,
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of how it is a little bit, how we are almost seen in society that, beauty and physical appearance is I suppose it's because it's really easy to see, is the first thing you see, but we forget about the mental
yeah,
balance, mental
yeah.
health, and actually that's way much more important to our own personal health and well-being.
Yeah, that's true. But for my own case, it was like I took an education as a dermatologist, it's called
Yeah,
that in
yeah,
English.
dermatologist,
And
yeah.
I think I was 25, I think, or 20, yeah, 25. So, and the most important for me was to have this acne gone. And that's where I started to also to learn about if I eat garlics, raw garlics, it's like an antibiotica. If I eat carrots, it's a lot of A vitamin in. It's good for the skin. It healed acne, and that's where my mind started. It was because of my skin, and then I developed.
Thing, isn't it? How the occasion became, and it's just something really simple, but something that is easy to get to. I want to look better. I
Yeah,
want my skin to be
yeah,
healed. And
yeah.
then from that, you begin to think, okay, how can I do that also in a natural way? Not only cleaning the skin or with creams, but actually inside out as
Also,
well.
always like
That's
natural.
how that's how it kind of came to you and you learned about it.
Yeah, but the funny thing is at that point it was only for the skin to look good. I didn't came to that moment whereas I want to have a mental good health. It was always about the looks, right? But when I was like 27, I started to look a little bit deeper into that was my new journey. It was my spiritual journey who came right there. And that's when I started to really, because this anxiety was killing me slowly, actually. So I was starting to, go to healing myself and try to speak with somebody. And, the commune I go to psychologists and everything, but it was not really helping me. So I
Yeah.
started to do the spiritual way.
Yeah. And so, Bianca, interesting again, isn't it? How when we have anxiety attacks or when we are extremely nervous and feeling really bad, we see it as something terrible. But
Hmm.
actually, it is in fact the first call for healing. Is the
Yeah,
first
and
call
it
for
is,
what can I do to make this go away? How can I get through
exactly.
this? And from this, lots of new things happen. Out of that comes growth. Out of that comes healing.
But I didn't know that at that time. I think I was not immature enough in a way, or I wasn't there yet, but I was on this journey, but I wasn't aware. And then the awareness became come, slowly building in. And then I think in 2014, I was, that's what was more of another breakthrough because I have been on I have not been working a lot of years, and it's been very turbulent with my daughter. She got a diagnosis and stuff like that. And then I went to a biopath school,
Mhm.
and then I started the new journey, and that's where I saw the link between trauma and nutrition.
Mm.
Then I started to open a new mindset. It's like, oh, yeah, you know, we learned so much in the biopath school that was like, it all started to make sense. And then I got even more healthy and I was really taking the homeopathy, you know, the big doses C vitamin and, you know, started to not be afraid of the vitamins and stuffs.
Yeah,
So
because that's another thing, isn't it? Often we, there can be a bit of a scare kind of mentality sometimes in the press where we read, "Ooh, we can have too many vitamins. Ooh,
again,
you have to watch this and this. You cannot."
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
actually, I mean, more than 80% of us are actually nutrient
yeah,
deficient,
yeah, yeah,
even
yeah,
in Northern Europe. So, it's not that we need to be worried we're getting too much. In fact, we should be absolutely worried we are not getting enough nutrients in our bodies. And of course, they are the building blocks. I mean, they are actually directly the building blocks to our health, our
yeah,
physical health, our mental health. So
yeah,
if we are wanting to have a strong immune system, we should be thinking, am I have enough vitamin A, for example, because precursor to part of the immune system, or B vitamins for energy and so on.
and I found out myself because I had over the years in my entire life, it's like always being a little bit ups and down in moods, and you know, and then the anxiety came after the birth, and there was a lot of, you know, I have like a really heavy head sometimes. I'm a really positive person, and I, you know, people always like, oh, you're such a sunshine and you're so happy and positive and everything. But deep inside of me was like, I also have this dark side. It was like very depressive and not seeing, oh, I deserve a good life, I deserve a good man, I deserve money, you know, all these thoughts. And then when I found out, it was like I was smoking a lot. I was living on coffee. I was very skinny. It's like maybe 25 kilos skinnier than now. You know, and I didn't want to eat because I didn't have the appetite. You know, it was the smokes and the coffee and some food. And then it was like this very heavy mind, right? So I couldn't, there was a block I needed to get over. And then when I found out with the homeopathy and the trauma therapy and the vitamins and all that stuff, it's just like it took slow, but it was like it need to be integrated, and then suddenly all the things started to blossom. You know,
Wow.
the
That's so interesting, isn't it? That, I mean, an absolute journey, but through the learning of the importance of health and actually how to improve one's health in terms of the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids, the enzymes, how to actually think about it in that way that our bodies literally are made of these nutrients. And so if we feed ourselves with B vitamins, and there are 8 of them, but if we feed ourselves with B vitamins, let's say, for example, I had a banana this morning full of B5,
yeah,
then my energy goes up, because
yeah.
that's how we build energy, is actually from the B vitamins. That's interesting. And must have been such a very, very pivotal moment when suddenly that started to lift a bit for you.
Yeah. And I think, like I always tell to my clients, it's like I have this one energy bottle, you know, it's the chi in the body, right? So you have this bottle, it's like full of light, we call it energy light. And then you have maybe like traumas, it pulls a little bit down every day, right? Then you're gonna eat food. It depends on which food you're eating. It goes up, you know, it's safe the energy, it's give you good energy. Then you have maybe a bad relationship, it pulls you down, or bad relation with family members, whatever. And also it's really build up the energy. This bottle doesn't recognize if it's a trauma, if it's food, if it's blah blah blah. It's the same energy bottle.
And how wonderful with that whole journey up to this point, and then realizing, wow, I can help people.
Mm.
I can actually reach out now and help other people. And
Yeah.
in that journey, you are still helping yourself. It's
Yeah.
this thing that, I always think and talk to people about how I love to reach out and help people, because in
Mm.
that process, my life is enriched. It is that I really think that by being something for other people, reaching out to other people, and can be very small things, can be very small things. We never know what is going to change life a little bit for someone else. It can be just a smile, it can be just picking something up, some heavy groceries, or in
Mm.
your case, bringing about a change in other people, facilitating that by sharing your knowledge that you've learned.
It's so I'm so grateful for that. So now my awful journey is actually given a very big blessings to me. It's like when you come out on the other side, you see the journey as a gift and not like, oh my God, I went through hell, but it's like, wow, I can really take all the wisdom and put it in together. And that's why I think it's so beautiful when I also got to know you last year. Now I've been on the nice greens now, your greens for the, yeah, I think it's actually 1 year now.
So tell us a little bit about that. So, what do you do? What's your routine? So it's the wheatgrass juice that I think you take, our organic field-grown wheatgrass juice. Is that right? I mean,
Yep.
one little sachet of it is the same as 3 heads of broccoli in nutritional value, or a pound and a half, 600 grams. So it's just that it's a really easy way, isn't it? But tell us a little bit from your point of view, Bianca.
Yeah, but last year I was still struggling a lot with my hormonal imbalances. It was like most of it is like my bloating. You know, every time I eat something, it's like, and I did a lot of stuff, right? It's really, my boyfriend was saying, "Can you try more new stuff? You tried everything." I was like, "I don't know." But
You
then
had,
my
had
friend,
digestive, so you had digestive issues. You were
yeah,
bloated and
yeah,
feeling.
I bloat very. If I eat a banana, bloating. You know, everything in some point at that time, everything I was eating was like very irritating my bowel. So I have a friend, Sophie, you know her, and she was like, "Oh, you need to try. You need to try this wheatgrass." And actually, I did wheatgrass, but in the powder I have in the kitchen was like a powder from somewhere. And and I didn't really do it because I think it was too smelly, tasty, and yeah, so I didn't use it so much. And Sophie was like, I will come by your house. I would take some fresh wheatgrass. I was like, okay. And she took it over at my place, and we drank it. It was like I was really surprised. It was tasty, and I was like, okay, what is that? And it smells good. It was really fresh and everything. And she was like, yeah, take a couple of bags and you try them. And then there was like I tried them and I was like, oh, I really want to have that. It felt really good in my body. It was like, and I think the one you said before about the 3 broccoli heads, it's
Yeah.
like that little bag give me so much. And I like the thought about that. So then Sophie introduced me to you, and then I started to do the wheatgrass, and I think it was good. I really want to try to have like more enzymes and the greens and everything. And I think that went maybe 6 months or something before I could feel it in my body. You know, not in my body, in energy, I could feel it, but not, I could not see it. I think it was about 6 months. And I said to Sophie, I will try this for 6 months. And if it doesn't work, I'm off, you know. But I was like, I tried to see that my digestion actually felt better. So now it's been 1 year and I'm doing 2 types. I do the soursop too, and I
Mm.
do the broccoli. What's more? Broccoli,
And
soursop.
celery, soursop, broccoli, and
Yeah,
celery.
and celery. And I have these two I take out every morning and I put them in a little glass to get the unfrozen.
Yeah, to thaw them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I juice a cucumber and an apple and lemon, and then I put it together. That's my new drink. I started for that like 2 months ago. So before I just took them with a little bit of water down, but now I like to do this morning routine where I do the half a cucumber, a lemon, and an apple, and it tastes like I'm like It's a happy moment for me to do it. So
Yeah, the way I do it is I've got my glass. It's actually my breakfast here that I
yeah.
have. So in mine I put pineapple that I put in the blender with a kiwi fruit,
Oh yeah.
sometimes half a passion fruit,
Yeah.
and either half or one banana, and
Mm,
then the wheatgrass. And they come in these little sachets. It's frozen, so it's completely, when you thaw it, obviously it's fresh. It's got all the enzymes in there. There's nothing that gets lost because it's instantly frozen. And this is actually my breakfast. And
yeah.
I just love it. It's just got so much energy. And the color, of course, is incredible. And now we know that that's the chlorophyll. And the darker the green, the more chlorophyll. And
Yeah.
that means all that beautiful green blood, all that beautiful nourishment.
Yeah, and the oxygen, like you mentioned before, is like having more oxygen in the body, so everything is working better, right? It's more flow in the body.
Yeah, because that's what so it goes in and it feeds all of the different things, including the hemoglobin, our red blood cells.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
of course, that's the hemoglobins that binds the oxygen and carries oxygen throughout the body. And there is research that has actually shown how through the nutrients, the wheat grass juice can help bind the oxygen to the blood cells. So and yeah, well, I mean,
And
so
it's
wonderful.
all,
And how you found that it might have, has it helped your clients have that sort of combining their nutrition and thinking that the physical health with the mental health? How have you found that journey helping others?
yeah, I feel like if I had some feedback, it's about the first feedback is having more energy, actually. It's really having more energy. And I think most of my clients is females and in all kind of ages. So I had a young one. She had it and she was like her skin was getting so much better. Of course, she is young and she had a quite good skin, but you could really see that her skin was yeah more glowy in some way.
Was that was because of she took the wheatgrass juice and it was the
The
nutrients in the
wheatgrass, yeah.
wheatgrass juice? Yeah, interesting. Yeah, we
Yeah,
do.
and I had another one. She had this also like bowel digestion thing, and she also felt that she could get off, go to the toilet more nicely and everything. So there is really good results with the wheatgrass. I had a family. I think it's a man, two girls, and a mom. I think only the kids and the father took it, but he said the one of the kids, a girl, she was so with the apple juice, the organic apple juice, and she was so happy to do it. And she had more. He said she was more positive. She had more energy in a way. The girl.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, it leads back to this thing that when we have the nutrients in the body that we need, the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids, and the enzymes, then suddenly the body can start doing the things that it does best. It goes in
Yeah,
and repairs things. It helps the skin. It nurtures the and supports the digestive systems.
yeah.
We talk about recovery after sport with
Ah,
with the
yeah, of
muscles.
course.
The blood and the arteries are improving. It's all part of the different nutrients
Yeah,
in our food, in our natural foods.
yeah,
And that's another thing, isn't it? The difference between supplements and natural foods.
yeah,
Natural foods, it is really like a symphony orchestra. You have all of these nutrients and they help each other. They
yeah.
boost each other and they help absorption rate and all of those things. Yeah. Really interesting. We'll put a link underneath to your practice
Yeah.
so people can come to you for their issues around trauma and how you
Mhm.
can support them. And of course, we're going to put a link to where people can get the wonderful organic outdoor grown wheatgrass juices if they like, but obviously also all the other products. And we will continue to explore all different subjects here. Thank
Yeah.
you, Bianca.